Hey, welcome to Andrea Loves Everybody. Here in the studio with Quincy Jones, the good Quincy.
That's right. About time someone got my credits right in this month.
Hell yeah. Something I like to start this podcast off with is I tell my guests something that I love about them.
Okay.
So you can just bask in these compliments.
Oh, okay.
Quincy Jones,
Yes.
Love Quincy Jones. One of my favorite things about you is how much of your energy you put into uplifting other people. That's something that I don't really see happen in the comedy community a lot. Quincy's always posting on Facebook, featuring people, just giving shout outs and telling other comics what he sees that's good about them. You kind of like, if you see a friend get an opportunity, you're like, hey, my friend got this, like, congratulations. And I think you put a lot of effort into like telling other people that you appreciate them and that you see good things in them. And I think that's something in this business, especially, that there's a lot of like, oh, they didn't really deserve that. Or like, I don't think this person deserves to be on that lineup. Like, there's just kind of a lot of hating and shit talking. And like, I see you as someone that's always making an effort to combat that kind of negativity. So I really like that about you. I think it's really great.
Well, thank you, man. I tried.
Yeah. Something I wanted to ask is like, is that something that you find that you do to keep yourself positive? Like, it seems like you're the kind of person that you feel uplifted when you're uplifting others, you know?
I feed off the energy that I give, for sure. And obviously, I believe that we all radiate certain energy, and there's positive energy and there's negative energy, and positive energy eventually trumps negative energy, but you have to be stronger. You know, it has to be like the right people radiating the right amount for the right amount of time, for an extended amount of time. So for me, I just say that I try and be I try and give that which I appreciate, you know? And so for me, it was just like, okay, we're all grinding in this, you know, in this biz, and it's good to just provide a little positivity, you know? And when it's random, you know, it's that much more appreciated because people don't know when it's coming. People don't know who I'm doing. I don't know who I'm doing. I might just see something like, oh, I got to write about this person. Yeah. You know, and so it just, it keeps, it's not a hack or anything. It's genuine. Right. And I feel like if you question authenticity or genuineness, then you have a deeper problem than a random appreciation post could do, you know? It's like, I don't believe that comedy needs to be bitter and negative or tragic or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, there's shitty parts of it, you know, for sure. But no one's putting a gun in anyone's head and forcing them to tell jokes.
It's supposed to be fun.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Find another hobby. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't come up to a mic and just be negative because you're like, oh, this is what we're supposed to do, right? Well, yeah, but you don't have to. Yeah. You can go drink. You don't even need to pay out a minimum at a bar. Just go drink, you know? But I don't know.
I feel like there's nothing more frustrating than when I see comics kind of like wonder like, oh, why don't I have this spot? Or like, why did this person get this opportunity? Because it's just them putting like negativity, and it's not nice. You know, it's just like, dude, just work harder, just be better, just relax, you know? You're kind of taking away someone else's good feelings because you don't feel good about yourself. And I think that's shitty.
Well, do you know how many like fucking comics there are that we have friends on Facebook? Yeah. It's hard to keep track of everybody. Seriously. And yeah, although I do get frustrated, I voice my frustration when people, when I see repeated comics get booked on the same show. But rather than be upset, I'd be like, okay, well, maybe I need to refollow with an email. Maybe I need to go to that show. Maybe I need to hang out. Maybe I need to let them know, hey, I sent you something. Maybe you didn't get it. I understand that. Maybe you're busy. I really would like to do the show. Follow up. Be consistent. Be diligent. Instead of just sitting up there like, oh, man, there's no one, I didn't get in the show. Why'd they get that? Why'd Andrea get that? Why'd she do that? Why'd she do it? Like, it's like, what does that get you? You think that's going to get you the spot that you want? That's not going to get you the spot that you want. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what? I guess I don't understand the negative approach to like being upset when someone else gets something good. If you are supportive and encouraging, that's more likely to attract a supportive and encouraging attribute to you.
Yeah, for sure.
As opposed to, why did Albamani get that? Why did White Brandon get that? What's up with that? Yeah, I mean, I've been here longer. I know this person. I'm funny. Yeah, being funny is the last thing of comedy. It's literally the smallest element of comedy that you need to focus on. And that's weird.
It is weird. I think, yeah.
That'd be like you're a painter.
Yeah.
And that's being like, yeah, well, I have the same brushes as them. I have the same colors. Yeah, but you're not painting the same thing.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not doing the same style. You're not even doing the same genre. No, you're not doing any of it. You're looking at Picasso, and you're like, well, I mean, I don't see
Why am I not in an art museum? It's bullshit.
I mean,
Stupid.
it's just impressionism. What is that?
It's so easy. Anyone can do it. It's fun.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's weird when you see people take that approach. You're like, you don't get it, fam. You don't get it.
I think the other funniest thing too for me is when people get jealous, like about a show that's not even that great of a show. Like it's like, no, I had to drive 3 hours and I didn't get paid, and there were only 5 people in the audience. But I guess in your mind, like you think it's something really great. It's just we're just doing it because it's fun. You know, just don't hate on me. It's stupid. Why would you get mad? So
you moved here from where?
I moved here from Milwaukee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to New York?
I went very briefly. I was there. I was in the city for like less than a full day.
Okay. So.
And it's brutal. I did one mic and it's more brutal there than LA. Well,
that's
sure.
That's my point is when I first went to New York, I used to always hear about Creek and Cave.
What's
Creek
that?
and Cave. It's like a mic.
Oh, okay.
And I used to always hear about it. And I was like, oh my God, I got to do Creek and Cave. And then I went to Creek and Cave and discovered that it was just another mic in another basement, another building, another city, and the same thing goes all over the business.
Yeah.
It's just another stage. But me, I had elevated it in my head to it being some amazing mic where in New York, the cream of the crop are going there. And the fact of the matter is like, there's quality mics filled with quality people, and there's shitty mics filled with shitty people. And quality people go to shitty mics, and shitty people go to quality mics. It's going to interchange. It's going to be
But what you get out of it is what you put into it, too. Like, if you're going, you can go at a shitty place, and you can still learn things. Like, the point of a mic is, like, you're learning stuff. It's for you.
Yeah.
Like, it's more for you than it is for the other people in the group. And so if you learn something, even at a shitty mic, if you figure out a way to be comfortable riffing, or if you figure out a new tag, that's all that was for, you know?
Well, what did they expect? You know what I'm saying? That's when comics get upset about something. Like, what did you expect? What did you have that you thought was guaranteed in your head that it was a lock, that you were going to knock it out the park?
Right.
Then you complain about, I drove 3 hours to the fucking mic. Yeah, I drove 3 hours to the show. I got like a drink ticket and $25.
We're all doing this.
It's like,
that's
dude,
the thing.
What did you expect? Did you expect like a packed show in Santa Barbara for your bar joke material? That's what you thought? Yeah, you thought that you were just going to knock it. You thought that they were all there to see you. You thought it was going to be a pack. And so it's humbling. That's what comedy is. Comedy continuously humbles you.
Yeah.
Life will continuously humble you. Love will continuously humble you. And if you keep going into it with these lofty expectations and these theories of entitlement and feelings of deservedness, it's like you will get your ass handed to you every single time. When guys expect sex from women, sex is a privilege. When women expect men to pay, chivalry is a privilege. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's like a lot of things people are walking around. I don't know if it's the internet because people have more access to, more validation from external sources.
Right.
But people are walking around like, I should, I deserve, I earned. You did nothing. You did nothing different.
Yeah.
You didn't sacrifice anything. In fact, you had minimal sacrifice. And you're sitting here telling people who've sacrificed a lot more that you deserved it because you moved from where, because you drove from where, because you took this long to find parking, because you paid your item minimum. Guess what? The room's chock filled of people who did the same. Well, so you're not special.
I think, too, like, people just look at other people and they're like, oh, you haven't struggled. Like, we never know another person's struggle just by looking at them. You don't know what that person's been doing or how long they've been, like, you can't possibly know. Yeah. So it's, like, not really fair to judge. But
well, everyone struggles.
Oh, for sure.
That's what I've learned. And even with my cancer, even with my cancer, it's a thing where people are like, well, I don't want to say I struggled like you. He was like, yeah, but your struggles are valid too.
Right.
Just because you're not battling cancer doesn't mean that you're like, I don't need to tell. Yeah, everyone needs to vent. Everyone needs to express their frustration. Everyone deserves that. Everyone's struggling.
For sure.
Bill Gates is no longer the richest person. Is that probably eating him alive? Yeah,
but
that's a great problem. Sure. That's a great problem to have, to not be the richest person in the world anymore.
Yeah.
But guess what? He may have other struggles. He might have tax struggles. He might have to deal with the struggling business. Let's be honest. Windows isn't doing like what it used to be. Microsoft's not doing the damage it used to do. So it's like everyone. There's more problems for everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, whose problems is it? Could we look at a bum? Do you think bums are sitting there like, well, you're battling heroin, I'm battling crack. My addiction's better than yours. No. So it's like, why do we always feel the need to compare and contrast struggle?
Right.
Jews and blacks, Italians and Greeks, everyone is just trying to like compare, my oppression's better than yours. Everyone has been oppressed in some way or another. But instead of us uniting and fighting against oppression as a group, we're still trying to be like, well, I deserve more validation and more recognition for my oppression. It's like, all right, dude, I think you're missing the whole point.
Yeah, just be nice to each other.
Just be decent. Just don't go out of your way to be a dick. Is that so hard to ask?
Apparently really tough.
But it's like, but here's the thing. Those people who are dicks aren't going to last. That's the beautiful part of it. When you're less than genuine, when you're negative, when you're less than genuine, when you're bitter and you're angry, you're not going to last. They do not last.
Even if you last, you're in hell every day. Like, it's not fun. They don't last. So why?
They're not even going to go any further.
I know.
Like I was just talking about this with a comic, my friend Greg. People who attacked me are no longer around. They don't even do comedy anymore.
Yeah.
Where are they at? And that's crazy if you think about it. When you're negative and you're bitter and you're angry, you are effectively ending your own career or your own life faster.
No one wants to hang out with you.
Nobody pities you. No one wants to help you. No one wants to be around you. Nobody wants to drink or smoke with you. You're bitter. You're angry. You're negative. You're going to be by yourself, and then you're going to be upset that you're by yourself until you're only by yourself. And that's who you have to deal with. And then you can't blame anybody but yourself.
Well, I feel like, let's get on topic of love, because that is why we're here.
Let's talk about love.
But I do want to say, I feel like loneliness and like comedy, like there's this thing in common where love and comedy, you get back what you put into it.
I believe that.
People think that love is this thing or comedy is this thing that you just have, that you possess, that you own, and not something that you're putting out into the world for others. Like, I feel that way about love, is that people be like, oh, why doesn't this person love me? Like, I'm so great, or like, I'm this. And it's like, no, you have to put into that person. You have to be there with that person. Like, you're giving and taking. It's supposed to be a relationship. So I don't know. I want to ask you, when was the last time you were in love?
I'm in love right now.
Really?
I'm always in love. I'm in love. I love love.
Yeah?
I love it. Not just the romanticized ideal notion of it, but I love love. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. It's
a
favorite.
thing that it's one of the love language. It's one of the languages that even animals show. Love. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of dope. Now there's negative, there's hurt, there's people who abuse love and manipulate it and control it and
I don't think that's real love, though.
Exactly. Love in its purest form is just you looking at someone and being like, I am lucky to have this person. I love it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I love love. I'm in love with comedy. I'm in love with humans, with women. I'm in love.
Are you in love with a specific human or just people generally?
I'm in love with a specific human.
Okay.
Are you in love with someone?
I'm in love with a lot of people.
That's
but
right.
I'm not in a relationship with anyone.
I'm
demisexual.
And can you remind what that is again?
Oh, so demisexual means that for me, sexual attraction kind of comes after love. So I feel like love for people before I feel attracted to them.
Ooh.
So that it's really it's really frustrating because like I know in my head, like I can see a person, I'm like, oh, I find that person attractive, but I don't feel like a sexual desire for someone until I already feel like sex starts in my heart for me. That's where I feel it first.
It's an intimate action for you.
Yeah.
And I totally understand that.
It's for me, like sex is this expression of a feeling that I already have.
Right.
It's not like the goal.
Right.
You know?
No, I dig it.
So I I have a tough time dating here because I feel like people see sex as like this bargaining chip or this like thing again that they're entitled to maybe or
Can we be honest?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think sex has lost its value. And I believe it's, men and women's fault.
Yeah.
I think that men feel like they view women as sex objects, or they use sex as like the last thing to make sure that their time feels validated, their time and energy that they put into it. I found myself when I was a young man thinking this, like if I would really pursued a woman and I didn't get sex, I'd be like, well, it was a waste of time.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel sort of like sometimes women are like, they want a guy or they like men to pursue them and do this, and then they don't want to have sex. And it's like, and they're entitled to that. They're totally, sex is a privilege. Make no mistake. I'm not saying women need to fuck more or they should fuck more. But I'm saying I don't think sex, I wish society didn't punish women for being open with their sexuality as much.
Well, something that I see that has kind of happened on both sides in our culture is people using another person to validate their own self-worth as opposed to sincerely having love and affection for the other person. To me, like the way that I feel about sex is I almost feel like sex is like church. Like you're worshiping another person in a way. You're totally seeing them, not just their body and all the beautiful things that their body is, but also their spirit, all the beauty that person is. Sex is the time you take to meditate solely on your partner. And you see every flaw and every crease and every piece of who they are. And you're coming together and you're saying like, I want to be so close to you that I want you to physically be inside me. And I think that is such a beautiful, amazing thing that when I have people that want to have sex with me that I feel like I don't even really know that well, or that I've gone on 1 or 2 dates with them and they feel entitled to touch my body, like it feels really weird to me because I'm like, you don't even see me yet. You only see what's in your head. You've decided who I am, but you don't even really know me yet. So how can you really understand me? And that's what I want out of sex. Like, I feel like sometimes people want sex to be like, to like validate them. Like I found this a lot from like one night stand kind of guys where they want like they don't feel good about who they are and they don't feel secure in themselves as a person. And so they feel like if they have sex that from someone that they've idealized, like this beautiful woman or this really great person, that somehow that makes them more valuable. But it kind of just leaves the emptiness more empty. I just don't think it's good.
I think sex is just an action. Now, I understand that it's an action that comes with strings attached, right? But I view sex as just something that I take care of when I feel the need or desire to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like now, I would love to have the type of sex you have, which is emotional, true, genuine, a feeling of an exchange of vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
An exchange of genuinely seeing who the other person is and ultimately, at least for a moment, feeling safe with that person.
Yeah.
I don't always have sex like that. Sometimes I literally just have sex where it's just an action where I try and please the woman and, she tries to please me and hopefully walk away from the exchange, both of us feeling pleasure. That's sometimes what it is. But yeah, sometimes you do want to make love to a person.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do just want to provide good sex. Like there's a lot of times where I'll look at a woman and be like, I would love to have sex with her. And then sometimes I see a woman so sensual and just so beautiful. I'm like, I would love to make love to that woman.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
But like, will you have sex with people that you don't really know?
Hold on, excuse me.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Getting over a cold, listener. Sorry. Don't worry, Getting over a cold. Thank you. You said, do I have sex with people I don't know?
Yeah, I mean, like, or are they people that you kind of know a little bit and you feel?
I feel like sex is a risk, and so sometimes, like, I'll have sex with a person. I'm like, I feel safe enough.
Okay.
I feel comfortable enough. I'll risk it. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I hope this doesn't backfire. It could, but I don't. You know, I don't think it will. Because then it's sort of that's you sort of trusting your judgment of a person's character.
Yeah.
That's you being honest with yourself about when a person is, okay, I can read through it. Because sometimes you can tell when a dude's a dick. You can tell when he's just, so you just look at her like, all right, dude.
But I think.
But that's when we want, when we exalt that person, we're like, please surprise me. Please be different. And they show themselves to not be different.
Yeah.
And then we're disappointed. But it's like, but we knew.
You knew.
So why are we disappointed? Because we expected and hoped and wanted and sometimes even needed more from that person in that moment. And they are just a human. They're fallible. They're weak.
Well, I think something that I found too is like, I think people have this idea that like hate is the opposite of love. I feel like fear is really the opposite. Because I feel like a lot of times when people hurt me, when I'm dating someone or I think that I'm seeing someone and they say that we're not, and it's very confusing. I feel like it's always has to do with them and their fears. And I have that too, is like you get scared, you know, like you're like, oh, this person is close to me and they're seeing me and like, it's scary. And like, I'm not sure if I like this. And I don't know. I feel like fear is where we go wrong a lot of times.
It's the reason we have fear, especially as men, when women ask us, what are we doing, is because there's now the burden and obligation and expectation of more.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're not in that place. Sometimes you're giving what you can give in that moment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I've had sex with women where they're close to climaxing and they're like, keep going, don't stop, hit that same spot. And I'm like, I can't. I'm spent. I'm tired. I've given you everything. And they may not climax, and I can feel their frustration. And I know I failed them in that regard.
It's frustrating.
It is frustrating. And so you're like, and you feel that disappointment, but it's like, I gave you what I could. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so sometimes men and sometimes women, because sometimes men exalt women on a pedestal too, and they look at women as more. Sometimes they're that elusive person that eluded them in 7th grade, or sometimes that high school sweetheart that they couldn't have, that their psyche is attaching to you and it's attributing to you, and you're that person. Now they have you, and they're like, I got you. It's like, no, you have the vision of the ghost. That left you. You don't have me because you're not looking at me and seeing me for who I am. You're not experiencing me for what I'm offering. And that's okay, but I'd appreciate it if you didn't project those issues onto me and what I'm trying to do in my life or in this dynamic.
Right.
You know, I love humans. I love people. I love women. There's no secret that I love women. I love women to an unhealthy desire. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that wasn't a drug or addiction, I love women. I love talking to them. I love flirting. I love pursuing them. I love having sex with them. I love laying with them after sex. I love the act of sex. I love the flirting aspect. I love the witty banter. I love all of it. I love it. But I also recognize when a relationship may not go as far as I'd like it to. And so I just ride the wave. I don't force it. We're all here. We're all here existing. And sometimes I'll date a woman and she'll be planning for the future. I'm like, I know that's not going that way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they're not ready. Sometimes we're all conditioned by our past environments, by our past relationships, where we're like, this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to date for 2 years and be engaged for 2 years and be married and this and have a kid, and we're supposed to move in and we're and there's itinerary. It's like, dude, I just go with the flow. Yeah. I've never lived with a woman. I've never lived with a woman at all.
Interesting.
I've never lived with a woman. I've been,
Have you felt like that was something you wanted or not really?
I want it. I mean, I want to try it all. But also, I falter when it comes to time for me to be. I've never had a woman where I felt that I could be vulnerable and safe with.
Interesting.
I've never had that. Because sometimes the women I date, they're not emotionally adequate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. As in, like, they don't know how to provide what they're asking for. Everyone can ask for something. How many people can give what they're asking for?
It's really hard.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's
why I don't ask for anything I can't get. If I can give people rides and ask for a ride. I don't even have a car. I can call them Uber. If I know someone with a car in a place, I'll get you a ride.
Yeah.
And I can ask for a ride confidently. You know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like you have the ability to provide the kind of love that you want?
Yeah, I do. I try to. I try to give the love that. But I also recognize when a person's not ready for it.
Yeah.
That real feeling of vulnerableness, that intimacy,
Right.
that where, and sometimes when it comes with time, that feeling of being able to read a person's energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I genuinely love. I can read people. I'm great with crowd work. I'm one of the best doing it with crowd work. I can read any crowd and make anybody laugh. But I also take that when I apply it to relationships, when I'm reading my partner.
Right.
I know when I've noticed the subtle change of energy where I'm like, oh, I said something that upset them. And because they haven't had past relationships where they felt safe enough to share that, I then sort of like coax it out of them. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to snap your head off because that's what other people did. But I need to know why the change in energy.
Right.
I need you to help me understand that. And I can't understand unless you explain it, unless you communicate.
Right.
So I date a lot of women, sometimes they're poor communicators. And that's not their fault. That's not anything wrong with them. They're just not used to being in a relationship with someone who communicates.
Right.
And men aren't the best communications, especially when it comes to feelings. So then what you get is you get a woman who wants to communicate her feelings, but she's repeatedly dated dudes who don't communicate their feelings, and then they don't communicate well at all when they do. So that she tries to avoid confrontation because, let's be honest, sometimes women are constantly under the threat of physical violence, right?
It's very scary.
So it's like she doesn't. So women are trying to avoid that. They're trying to avoid confrontation. They're in survival mode.
Right.
So when I come along with my bohemian, you know what I'm saying, like free love.
What are your feelings, girl?
Yeah, and I'm like, well, they're like, what? This is fucking weird. I don't even know you, dude. I'm like, I'm trying to get to know you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn you. I can only learn what you're willing to share, and I won't force anything more that's not there. Do you get what I'm saying?
Totally.
And so when I date women, I realize like there's some comics who date other comics. There's some comics who date people, and they're like, "Oh man, dating's hard. Is dating really hard? Is it really hard? You know what's hard? Roofing is hard. Roofing is hard. Construction is hard. Milwaukee winters fucking hard.
Oh, tell me, bruh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't say the word different. It's challenging, yeah. But getting to know people's challenging. We've been doing that since kindergarten. You know how awkward I still feel whenever I go into where someone does a forced icebreaker activity and they're like, okay, now turn to your partner, turn to someone next to you and say two things that you don't know. But that's what we got to do.
It is.
Getting to know someone should be fun. It should be like, oh, what do you do? I sometimes... Well, I used to pursue women who it felt like conversation with them felt like pulling their teeth.
Ooh, I don't like that.
And sometimes with like the social media or like the digital age where people can project this personality that they want to have, and then you meet them and they're nothing like it. We're not even talking about physical looks. We're talking about just their personality. They respond fast.
I'm a cool girl.
Yeah,
and then
I'm
like,
a cool
no.
dude. And then you talk and you hang out with them and it's whack.
Yeah.
It's a whack time. You're like, this is bad. Why did you mislead me? Why did you lie to me and make me think that you were something different? Now I just put you in a box of all negative experiences that I've experienced with people who weren't honest with themselves. That's why I demand honesty. I understand lying, but I hope for honesty.
I feel like people lie to themselves the most, though.
It's easier to lie to yourselves. It's the easiest.
But that's the problem is like you want someone to be honest with you and they're not honest with themselves. Like they don't have that access to themselves.
They don't want people to be honest with themselves. People don't want honesty because honesty... the honesty to them represents the idealized version of it, the romantic version. They expect honesty to be delivered in the way that they seek it.
Right.
They're like, oh, well, Monday through Friday, 2 to 4, you can tell me about myself. And if anything outside of that, just sing my praises. That's all. That's all I'm really here for. That's all. That's really all dating sometimes seems to be like between men and women. And I say men and women because I don't want to feel like I'm just because I'm coming at it from a male perspective that I'm blaming all women. Because I know there's a lot of fuck boys out there. I know there's a lot of ain't shit women out there also. If they could just find each other and date each other, that'd be the best thing.
Just take them out of the category.
Just go find.
I don't have time. I'm tired.
But everyone's trying to. There are women with unrealistic expectations and men with unrealistic expectations. There are women who want guys to be tough but sensitive. You know what I'm saying? They want them to know how to fuck, but not fuck too many people. And there's guys who want choir girls to fuck like porn stars. It's like, well, dude, that's not reality.
Right.
You need to accept a person with their flaws and all. You know when I know I should date someone is when I know how to argue with them. You know, when someone could argue with you, and I don't even mean like respectfully, like a sitcom arguing. I'm talking like, you know what, dude, I'm not going to go for low blows.
Right.
I'm not going to fucking attack you. I'm not going to throw something that you were intimate, vulnerable with me and throw it in your face. I'm not going to do that.
I'm too old for that. I think when I was younger, it would get more, you know, like when you're younger, when you're first like, well, you said this, and like, you don't mean it. Like you would fight. And like, I'm kind of at an age now where I'm just like, I'm too tired to fight. Like, I love you. I care about you. Let's discuss this like people. We don't have to raise our voices. We're having a disagreement right now. But like my stepmom has this rule, and like growing up, my mom's a yeller. My mom's the whole house would be in an uproar anytime my mom's upset. And it just like put everyone on edge. And it made you feel like I just can't say anything. I just can't disagree. But then I would go to like my dad's house. And when I was younger, my dad was also a yeller. But then he started dating my stepmom, and my stepmom has a rule. And the rule is we don't yell. That's the rule. If you have something that you want to say to me, you can calm down and we can discuss it at a reasonable volume. If you feel like you need to yell, you can leave until you calm down, and then we'll discuss it. But anytime you start yelling, you get in your feelings, and nothing good is ever going to happen from that. And I was just like, that blew my mind. Like I was in high school and she told me we don't yell in the house anymore. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
This is amazing. Like you can just talk to me. You can be like, Andrea, I want you to make your bed and I want this to happen. And I'm serious about it. And I want you to take me seriously, even though I'm not raising my voice to you. And I was just like, what?
Yeah. I mean, that's the way I don't do that.
It's so
I don't do the yelling and
nice.
arguing in any dynamic. I'm like, arguing? I argued with one of my
tired.
ex-girlfriends for so long. It's like, I'm all argued out. I'm like, you listen, you're upset? Great. I'm not going to do what most men and dismiss your feelings. I'm not going to disregard what you're saying. I'm going to hear everything you're saying.
Right.
But you will come at me respectfully. I have earned that.
Right.
I do demand that. I don't care how angry you are. I will hold you accountable for your words. If you wouldn't say fuck me on a regular day, you're not going to start saying fuck me now because you're angry. No, we don't do that. Because I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to take my day and download it onto you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so some women waver. They waffle at that. They wither. Because they'll be like, you're holding me accountable? Well, I thought my cute looks and charm was going to be able to do. No, you're held accountable.
Yeah.
And some men wither when you hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like this whole Me Too era is about, that people are failing to realize. It's not about money. It's not about expecting people to go to jail. You really don't want someone to lose your career, but you want to hold them accountable.
Right.
Accountability.
I want you to understand that
Yeah.
you hurt me and you're responsible for it.
But sometimes also what people need to realize is like, sometimes you talk for yourself.
Right.
You're not speaking to get a certain action or reaction.
Right.
They're not entitled to give you that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people, it'd be nice, yeah. If you said, hey, Quincy, I want to let you know that, when I saw you at Zara's birthday party, I felt, a little slighted when you said bye to everyone. You didn't sort of say bye to me. I'd be like, you know what, you're right. I apologize. That wasn't my intention.
Hurt at all.
No, I'm saying, but if you were to say that,
I was like,
if you were to say that,
it's a
I'd
party.
be like, okay, cool. I apologize. I wasn't aware. It wasn't my intention. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But sometimes there are dicks who don't like to be called out, and they'll be like, well, so what? That's, whatever. That's on you. Not my fault. It's the way you feel. So I'm sorry you feel that way. That's the most dismissive phrase.
It's so
that should get
rude.
to. Like, I've slapped people for saying that. I'm sorry you feel that way. Who the fuck do you think you are to tell me I'm sorry you feel that way? Listen, you're not a fucking traffic cop of my emotions. I know how the fuck I feel. Don't dismiss me like a fucking child. If you lost your fucking mind, man, woman, parent, stranger, do not dismiss me.
Right.
I'm a middle child. I've been ignored my whole life. I will check you right where the fuck you stand. Don't do that, man. And people are like, what? I'm just joking. It's not funny. Don't do that. Don't play around. I don't play around like that. Maybe other people do, and that's fine. Don't do that to me.
It's just, I think Louis C.K., as much of a child or a creepy dude he is, he had one really good line from before all the scandal hit that I have always loved and kind of is in my head all the time. And it was from a show, and he said, you don't get to decide when you hurt other people. They decide. If someone tells you you're hurting them, you have a responsibility to do what you can to stop. And I feel that way about like racial slurs, like the Indians football team, like all these things. Like if someone is telling you, hey, I don't like you using this word at me. I don't like you when you say this about me. I don't like when you question this about me. And it hurts me. You don't get to say, well, that's your problem. That's up to you to be hurt or not be hurt. It's like, no, I'm telling you that that's shitty. Just stop.
But again,
you don't have to do it.
No, yeah, they don't have to do it, but that's why you do. That's why closure. That's why validation. That's why reassurance, acceptance. It all comes from within.
I agree. It has to.
Nobody.
Other people suck, and you just got to be like, oh, they're hurting me. Dude, that's not a reflection on me.
Here's the thing. Society tries to make everything black or white and be extremes.
Right.
And the fact is that we all operate in a gray area for most of our lives. You get what I'm saying?
100%.
And so when people try, like when people say, oh, you're selfish, I don't know when selfish took on a negative connotation, because selfish is you looking out for yourself, which no one else is going to do. No one's going to say, Andrea, you're painting a little too hard. You need to stop and take a break. That's up to you.
Actually, people have said that to me.
Well, you got great friends. Congratulations having a great support system.
Hey, you need to sleep. Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I keep we keep each other in check. Like I have certain people in my life that are like, hey, you're working hard, but I see you're tired.
Yeah.
And that's not good for you.
You're getting cranky. You're getting hungry. You need to eat.
Andrea, you're being kind of a bitch today. Is it about me or is it about how you're feeling because you didn't sleep enough? And
those
you're on
are great
period?
friends. Introduce me to those people. I need those people in my life too.
You know these people.
My point is like, you need to be selfish sometimes.
Yeah.
You need to look out for you. You need to put yourself first.
Well, you need to make sure that you're in a place where you feel good about who you are.
Right.
Because if you don't feel good about who you are, you can't be good for other people.
But that also requires people being honest with themselves. And it requires people being alone, which a lot of people don't know how to do. Either of those. Yeah. They don't know how to be alone. They don't know how to be honest with themselves.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, and you can't save people.
No.
Take off that saint. I don't know if you're expecting to become a patron saint in the Catholic Church. I don't know what you're hoping for, but it's not your job. Jesus couldn't save everybody. It's not your job.
Yeah.
My job is to be a decent human being. Not make anybody's job or day more difficult than it already is. Because if I operate under the pretenses that everyone's struggling with something, nobody loves their job. Everyone hates their job. So if I'm not being a dick to somebody and I'm not making their job more difficult, then my day has been good. My coming into their day has been pleasurable.
Yeah.
I don't expect when I'm friendly and they're being short and terse, that it's like, no, okay. They're not feeling it.
Yeah.
Guess what? When I worked at Starbucks for 13 years and people were friendly with me, I wasn't always in the most friendly, chipper mood in response. That's okay. That's on them. It's not on me.
Right.
My job is to not be a dick. My job is to be decent. I try and be decent partners. I try and be a decent human being. I would never classify myself as good. I'm not a good person. No, not at all.
So you're the decent Quincy.
I'm the good Quincy. The other one's horrible. He's an abhorrence. He's an evil human being.
That's not true.
I'm joking. I love Quincy Johnson. It's like he's one of my closest friends, period, in life.
He's a good guy.
He's literally like my brother, honestly. But you know, it's like I just try and be decent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't do anything to necessarily be viewed as good or you know, or I don't do it for a fuzzy feeling. I don't do it to be recognized. I don't do it expecting anything. I do it because I want to. And if I want to do it, it's genuine. It's authentic. Right. It's from the heart. It's what it's supposed to be. You feel me?
For sure.
And if they're not doing that, then I got to question what they are doing. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to.
No, I agree with that 100%. I'm going to kind of switch gears a little bit because I have something that I wanted to ask you. Okay. So I tried to watch your special. I was able to find part of it, but it's not on ETO Go anymore.
No.
So how do you find it?
You could go outside the country and go to Canada, go to Mexico, go there, log in, and I'm dead serious.
Okay.
It's on HBO International, but it's no longer in the States.
So I was able to my friend and I were looking for it the other morning and trying to find it. And we were able to kind of see it, but it was loading really slow. So we watched part of it.
Right.
But something that you said at the beginning of that, and I don't think I've brought it up yet, but you were diagnosed with cancer in 2015. Right? Uh-huh. And you did a special quickly after that, and it was kind of crowdfunded and all this stuff. And something you said at the very beginning of that was, all these people are here. This is so great. I better die soon. I feel like
the pressure to die.
The pressure to die.
Yeah.
And that just like broke my heart in this horrible way to think that, like, I know it's a joke, but to think that you might feel that way.
It's true.
How do you feel about that now? 2 years later, how are you feeling? Or 3?
There's a comic, and I won't say where or who they are, but they always say something when they see me, and it sort of like rubs me the wrong way. And sometimes I'll be like, they don't know. And I can't tell them, because this is something that you need to learn in life, which is subtle nuances. You need to learn how to read people. As comedians and people need to learn how to read people. But they're always like, I'm glad you're alive, glad you're still here. It's like, yeah, dude, I get up, I struggle, I do treatment every 3 weeks. There's no remission, there's no cure. I just keep doing this until it stops working. And then we try and find something else. And we do that until that stops working. And then probably the end comes, whatever that looks like. You know what I'm saying? But the point of it is that I do this. This is my job, just to continue to fight to live. And I know that some people are upset because there's a lot of evil people who do comedy. There's a lot of evil people projecting their issues from their life and their trauma onto comedy.
Right.
And they're sharing it with people, which is continued to add to a toxic negative cloud that hovers over the LA comedy scene sometimes, or hovers over the mic. So I guess to sort of bring it full circle is, yeah, it was a joke, but it was a joke that comes out of truth. A lot of my jokes come out of truth. And I hope you get to watch the rest of the special, because I think it's good. And I think that there's a lot of those jokes come from truth.
Yeah.
A lot of those jokes I have jokes about, supporting same-sex marriage up until a certain point. You know what I'm saying? Where, the joke goes, I support same-sex marriage, but only when the couple's ugly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not really as big a fan of when I see two beautiful lesbians get married. I'm like, that's not what God intended. You know what I'm saying? God intended it to be you and me. You know what I'm saying? Me and you. Me and beautiful women, period. But so it's a joke.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not seriously trying to take away, obviously, the rights to marriage or something like that. But
I feel like people love each other. Just let them love. Like, it's so hard to be with a person and to love them and to build her. Like, it's so hard. Just let people have it. Like, I don't understand why anyone else needs to get involved.
But there's a certain honesty that people have to be honest. Like, when you see someone attractive and you find out, when you see a dude who's attractive and you find out he is gay, a part of you is like, oh. Yes.
I've never felt that.
You've never seen someone like really attractive, like physically attractive. That's why I forget. You look at people differently. You don't see their beauty until you love them.
It's different.
Dating must be hard for you.
It's a fucking bitch. I date my friends a lot, and then when we break up, I don't have my friend anymore. It's shitty.
Why?
It's a lot of that. 'Cause
you feel like only they know you?
I feel like I don't feel comfortable being vulnerable with everyone.
Uh-huh.
I should say that's not true, actually. I feel like I'm vulnerable and I'm honest with a lot of people, but only when they take the time to be with me. I feel like, I don't know, for some reason, people, when they see me, they think a lot of things about me, and then they'll come up to me and be like, oh, listen to your stand-up or watching you do this or, having a conversation with you, you're a very different person than I thought you would be. And so I just have that experience over and over a lot. And I think that people kind of like think that I'm a nicer person than I am a lot. And
you do give off that vibe.
I do, but that's a lot of like,
that's them projecting onto you.
Yeah,
but that's what happens.
Of what I look like.
But that's also that. I mean, we're all empiricists. We can only go off our experiences.
Exactly.
So it's like, I look at you. I would think you're nice. You're beautiful. You have beautiful, beautiful eyes. You have a amazing body, a nice frame, and you wear these dresses and these outfits that complement and they're flowy, and you have the Midwest tone a little bit.
Very polite.
Very polite. This is true. That you are.
Never want to hurt anybody's feelings.
But you're also not like some naive, goofy motherfucker from the 50s.
Right.
You have a backbone. You are real.
I'm a little tougher than I look, I think.
You are. And that's the whenever someone's physical appearance contrasts with how they are is where people get confused.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think those are my favorite people, though. Because I'm like, oh, you got levels. Yeah, like, I want to hang out with you. I want to see what else you got in there.
Well, everyone has levels, but not everyone knows how to access them. That's like, when you see a big, buff black dude and he's friendly, but everyone, it doesn't matter. No one can tell me otherwise. They're like, they're that initial reaction, like, oh, shit, shit could get real. And he's like, oh, what's up? And they're like, oh, wow, okay.
Like Terry Crews, kind of?
Yeah.
When I see one of my favorite things ever, so I used to live on the south side of Milwaukee, and this is like one of the funniest things that ever happened is like, I was walking my dog, and he's a tiny little Chihuahua mix, so he's all white, and he's got a little black mask. He's really cute. And I was walking my dog, and it was kind of like close to dusk, like evening time. I'm walking him, and it was kind of a rough neighborhood where I live. Like, there's like a prostitute that lived in my building, and the pimp busted the window out of the building, and there's like someone was murdered across the street. It was really intense in Milwaukee.
Shout out to Southside Milwaukee.
Southside Milwaukee, killing it, literally. And I was like walking my dog, and so I was like, okay. And I see these two dudes come up, and anytime it's like close to evening and there's like dudes, I'm just kind of like on edge. I'm like, okay, what's this going to be? What's the deal? Like, are they going to be cool? Like, what is it? They're kind of like bigger. There's like an older guy and kind of a younger guy. And it's like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? And they look kind of tough. They had that like kind of street look to them. And I was like, okay, what is this? What's happening? And they get close to me. And one of them has a Chihuahua puppy in his shirt pocket, just like peeking out. And I just laughed so hard. And I was just like, your dog's so cute. Can I pet it? And he's like, of course. And so I'm just like petting this puppy. And it was just like the cutest thing.
And
it made me so happy.
Because we would go off how things look.
Yeah, totally. And I was like, oh, these are some tough kids. Like, you know, I'm not sure what the situation, maybe they're going to holler at me. Maybe they're going to try to, whatever. And they were just the sweetest people. It was so cute.
One thing I've learned is like, well, when you realize that everyone has different experiences, so people go off it, you're sort of like, okay, you get it. You know what I'm saying? But then it's also like, it's sort of your job to sort of be like, but this isn't that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand what you've been through before, but this isn't that. So for me.
That's hard. That's hard to remember.
But that's the life, though. That's how you genuinely get to know people.
Yeah.
That's what dating is all about. It's about learning from your past relationships and not taking them into the person and be like, but that isn't this.
Right.
This isn't that. You experienced that and that was real. And I'm sorry you experienced that, but I'm not him and you're not her. So we need to let those preconceived notions go. And also listen, I don't know what it's like to be a tiny, cute white girl. I don't know what that's like. But I could imagine that there's times where you might feel, a little uncomfortable with the people that you're around. But I also do realize that nobody really wants any trouble in life. I grew up relatively in the streets. I grew up relatively in a tough area. I fought a lot. And so for me, it's like when you realize that most people don't really want any, like everyone's just really coasting by.
Yeah,
everyone's
I don't want to fight
there's
anybody.
like a grudging truce with everyone. Nobody really wants to fuck with anybody.
Yeah.
We all have to be aware of the people who do, like the bullies.
But there are also crazy people.
But that's drugs. You recognize when somebody's on drugs? When a white boy named Chad's on coke, you recognize that shit. You recognize when some of the comics at the Comedy Store are too fucked up to be functioning in public.
I know.
That's why I remove myself.
Yeah, I don't want to hang out.
If I see somebody and they're too high, I don't even need to talk to them. It's not a knock on them. I just don't need to talk to them.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to remember, and I don't care enough to jog their memory.
Yeah.
So that's when it's like I just flow through it, baby. I flow through it like the water, man. I see something, okay, oh, what's up? Al, what's good? Okay, keep it pushing. When I was recording in mics, I don't go in the room with that because I don't like to be recorded in mics. I don't knock Al. I don't force Al to fucking stop recording at a mic. But I know if I didn't like it, I'm like, yo, don't record, Al. And I will respect it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I feel like we, men and women, need to be more cognizant and respectful of when people just call things out as it is and stop fucking expecting it to be sugarcoated.
Yeah.
Women sort of do need to call dudes out right there. Now, fuck all this. I didn't want to. Yo, life has actions and reactions, and there's consequences for those actions. But check these fucking dick bags and these fuck boys right there in the spot.
Well, that's something I have conversations with my female friends about that too, because I think for some women, the fear is that a discussion will become physical. If a girl is like alone with a dude or it's one-on-one.
Yeah, that's different.
And
I'm talking about
that's
in
a
public.
real thing.
Yeah.
But for sure, like, I will say that when I was younger, I was like hanging out. I was at the fair and a dude grabbed my butt. And I was with my friends, like dude friends, like other dudes. And like, I was so surprised that it happened that I didn't know how to react. I didn't know what to say or how to stand up for myself. But it just made me feel shitty the whole rest of the day.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, it's one of those things where like it starts off and you're just like, oh, is this because of me? And like as a woman, we kind of internalize oh, I deserve this. But now that I'm older, if a dude tries to touch me and I don't like it, if a dude is in my DMs and I don't like it, I'll be like, hey man, how come you're in my DMs at 2:30 in the morning, but when you see me out at a mic, you're not talking to me? What's the deal with that?
Yeah.
What's going on? It's weird. Cut it out.
Yeah.
And being able to have a real discussion with the dude, I feel like I get a lot further than just ignoring that behavior. Because all he's going to do is go do it to someone else. But if he has enough women say, dude, that's creepy, stop, maybe he'll stop.
I tell women by all means that they can always come and talk to me if they've ever had a male counterpart, colleague, friend, or whatever. If they were like, yo, this dude did this. I have no problem talking to a dude because I know how to talk to people respectfully. Yo, dude, I heard you doing this with women. Not cool. Knock that shit off because I don't fuck with it.
But I feel like it means so much more for women. Like, I feel like it's more empowering for me. Like, if my guy friends, like, I had a dude that I dated back in Milwaukee, and he was also a comic. And we'd go out somewhere sometimes, and other people who didn't know he was my boyfriend, who thought we were just both comics, would holler at me or even be creepy to me or whatever. And I was like, hey, just so you know, like, I'm never going to ask you to step up for me. Like, I'll do this myself. And if I need your help, I'll ask, but don't just step in. Cause I like if I'm on stage and some dude is being creepy and heckling me, I want the power to fuck with that guy. Like, I don't want you to be my boyfriend and rescue me and step in. Like,
right. But you can understand it's coming from a good place.
It is. But he was like, I won't. And I was like, great. We're on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, it is that is your cross to bear. You know what I'm saying? But I do want everyone to know, because a lot of times women don't speak up because they don't feel like they have anyone that they could talk to.
Yeah.
So this is more so for the women, like, you have a sounding board with me, and you have a person that if you tell me something confidentially, or you tell me something that you want action or you don't want action taken, that's you. I'll let you quarterback that. But I have an obligation as a decent human being to not let anything sit unresolved.
There's something that, as long as we're kind of talking about this, because there's a comic that I know who was, I don't want to say sexually assaulted. She was raped. Like, she was raped by another comic, another person. And she's gone to shows, and that comic is on the roster. You know what I mean? And that's something that's like, it's one thing to have accusations, and it's one thing to have like rumors. But when there's a court document saying that this person did this, and you still want to book that person on your show, like, it's difficult as a woman. Like, I don't want to ever fuck with that dude. I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to know him. I don't want to see him around. Not just because I think he's a shitty person or I heard a rumor. It's like, no, that person is dangerous. Yeah. And that upsets me. Like, that's something that's like, as women, I feel like we're not asking for a lot, but we don't want to be on a lineup with a rapist, know?
No, I mean, that's fair.
That seems like the bare minimum for us to feel comfortable.
For me, it's rape is a tough conversation to have for both men and women.
It is.
Okay, because sometimes women expect men to know that their dudes are rapey. Now, there's obviously the camaraderie amongst boys where it's like, oh, you could joke about, oh man, she's got titties, she got ass. Yeah, we do the objectification, sure.
We do guys too.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
No.
So there is that.
Yeah, there's an objectification, like an understanding of like, oh, they're cute or like whatever. Yeah. Girls
but there's a certain point where it's like, these dudes have masked their predatorial habits from men as well.
Right. Well,
and so when we hear about it, so a lot of times when men hear about it, it's not the well, she's lying. It's more so like, what the fuck? We didn't even know.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's pure shock and disbelief, not in the woman, but in the dude, because we're like, are you fucking serious? Because no dude is willingly hanging out with a rapist. I assure you, if they know that the person's a rapist, I think that 90% of men would be like, get the fuck away from me, dude. And sure, a lot of guys who are misinformed will try and cite women falsify rape claims. And there are some psychopath bitches who do that. That's a real thing.
I know. And that's what makes it so much scarier, is because it's like as a dude, like anytime you sleep with a woman or something, or it seems consensual and she's upset, like, what if that happens to you? And like, so like, from rumors, that's something that's just like, it's hard to
the word
judge.
rape is so, let me tell you how, I mean, I don't mean to tell you like mansplaining to you, but let me explain to you from the male perspective. The word rape is so fucking powerful.
It's terrifying.
That it's one of the few things that you could say to a man that would trigger a man's rawest reaction.
Right.
What if he was raped? If he knows someone who was raped?
Right.
You say rape to a man, and it's gonna be like you're gonna get I dare you just watch the reaction.
It's not a word that I even like bring up unless it's real.
If you go to jail and you're labeled a rapist, you are in danger. That's how serious rape is. If you even have the charge of it, doesn't matter if you get found not guilty. It doesn't matter if the woman comes forth, later and is like, oh, I falsified that. I didn't. That's not what really happened. Doesn't matter.
Right.
You're labeled that. Your life is doomed.
Right.
Your life is finished. You could be killed in jail or prison, all because there may have been one or two women out there who are, and I say in general, not against one person, but who are crazy enough to falsify rape claims to exalt the power that they've had taken from them, or get the acknowledgement. Rape is so fucking scary.
It's so serious. Like,
it's so serious. It's so scary.
Yeah.
Like when I hear about rape, like, dude, I've been in jail and I've seen shit happen to rapists where it's like, oh yeah, dude, it's in paperwork. Charges were filed. You've been found guilty of it. You're a rapist. You're a rapist. To be labeled a rapist is worse than scarlet letter back in the day. It's worse than sackcloth and ashes. It's worse than polio. You're a fucking pariah in society if you're a rapist. The fact that they only make people register is weird. There should be fucking flares.
Scary.
There should be and because most people don't check.
Yeah.
Most people don't check the sexual what is
predator registry.
Thank you, sexual predator registry.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I believe women, but I was raised by women. You know what I'm saying? I was raised by a single mother. I have an older sister. I have a niece who's 15, and I have to talk to her about sex. And because I'm a direct person, I'm like, listen, you're going to have sex. I'm not here to tell you not to have sex because I didn't stop having sex when I got to it. But I ask that you try and make it meaningful with someone you care about. That's all. And use protection. Those are the only two things I ask. Make it meaningful with someone you actually care about and use protection.
Well, and to be safe, I talked about this with some other people, but like growing up, my mom had experiences in her life where men in positions of power, one being her uncle, one being someone else in her family, were soliciting sex from her, asking her to have sex with them when she was like a 16-year-old girl. And she was strong enough to defend herself not only mentally but physically against grown men several times. My mom grew up on a farm. She's an incredibly tough person.
Yeah.
She had someone when she was in college drug her drink. Now my mom's job at that time, her fun summer job, was she lifted 50-pound wheels of cheese in a factory all day. That's what she did.
Sweet Jesus.
And so this man drugged her, and she was like starting to feel the effects, and she still managed to fight him off because my mom is such a physically and emotionally strong person.
Yeah.
I'm not a strong physically person, but like that fear of that happening, I think has just embedded itself into the deepest part of my psyche where like I don't even feel comfortable having men in my house that I don't already feel a deep connection for.
Do you feel like that mentality, do you think that mental outlook helped influence you becoming demisexual?
Probably, for sure. Yeah. And also just like all the stuff my dad did when I was a kid. My dad was a drug addict and an alcoholic, and it was a lot. So when I was a kid, there were some things happening in my house when I was a very young kid where I was afraid that my dad was going to kill my mom when I was a kid, because he made threats against her life, and we would have to like, the police would come and we'd have to leave the house and we'd have to hide at someone else's house. And I had all these nightmares. And my dad was someone who said he loved me. My dad was someone who I loved, but I knew he wasn't safe.
Right.
And so that kind of like anxiety and fear of other people, even people that you feel like you should be able to trust, definitely imprinted my brain in the way that I think about people. So like there are people in the world that I love and that I care about, but I still feel myself not trusting or not being vulnerable to fully. So
do you think that so when that happened, I'm sorry, I'm going back to when your stepmom said we don't yell in the house, how refreshing and
beautiful.
relieving
it was so nice.
Was that for you? How did you then like have you talked to your dad and been like, yo, when you were with moms and when I was a kid, I used to fear you. But ever since you've been dating stepmoms, I've noticed that she's been a good influence.
Oh, for sure. Well, and jail and recovery was also a great influence for my dad. You know, he had time to detox. He got off the cocaine. Much better. But yeah,
I can only imagine being. And again, I only say this because I'm coming from a male perspective. I could only imagine the mental rigors of being a man in the Midwest. You get what I'm saying? Like, in the fact of like, you always, like, you got to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to knock back 22 paps. You got to be able to fucking throw cheese. You got to be able to do, if you're not doing that, you're not I'm only assuming. I don't know. My dad
he was a rich kid. Like, my dad grew up, my grandpa had money.
Yeah, obviously he had Coke. Coke is not a common thing in Milwaukee.
My dad was a pharmacist. So my dad that's how he had access to cocaine, is he was a pharmacist at a hospital.
What?
I probably shouldn't say this. I don't know what the statute of limitations are. He lost so when he went to jail, he lost his license, but he was able to get it back just for nuclear pharmacy because he doesn't work with any controlled substances.
Oh, that's good.
So even though he has a felony charge on his record, he works with, like, he'll do the substance for like PET CT scans, like heart scans, that kind of stuff. So it's all radioactive. It's not anything he could really sell or snort or consume.
How long has he been clean?
He's been clean. Let's see. He went to jail when I was like 6 or 7, and he got out when I was like 8 or 9. And so then he's been clean since then. And then he's been a pharmacist again since I was in high school.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
I think have you taken the time to applaud your father for his growth?
What do you mean?
Just that?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like sometimes when we've been through traumatic experiences with family or loved ones, and they have made the necessary steps to grow and evolve, and they've shown it throughout, consistently throughout an extended period of time, we sometimes still, you know what I'm saying? That like, I'm not saying it to you, but I know for me, I've had that trauma with cousins where, like, it wasn't until I was grown. Oh, because
you would like fight them and stuff.
Yeah, but it wasn't until, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've rekindled it, we've reconnected as adults, and I've always been like, but you left me with a fucking alligator in Florida, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like,
what?
You've done some fucked up shit. You know what I'm saying?
Terrifying. Yeah.
But it's like, I also implore people to, like, look at the person for who they are now.
Yeah.
Don't look at for what they did earlier, because everyone grows and no one wants to be held. No one else wants to be crucified for past actions, because we're all guilty.
This is a conversation I've had with my mom, actually, because right now my brother's not speaking to my family, and it's a whole thing.
Is he older or younger?
He's younger. He's 3 years younger. He's married to a woman. She's not a great influence on him. It's a whole thing. But part of that comes from his anger about our childhood. And when we were kids, shit was crazy. Like, My dad was on drugs. My mom was freaking out. She's yelling all the time. We got hit, whatever.
Right.
But my parents aren't the people that they were. They're different people. And I've had that conversation with my brother, and like I've had that conversation with my mom too, because my mom sometimes feels like when we talk about the past that I'm accusing her, or that I'm trying to say that she's somehow to blame for how I grew up or what happened or the person I became. And I don't feel that way at all. I love my mom. And my mom, knowing her as an adult and as just a person, and knowing the terrible, horrible childhood that she had, and understanding that she's a product of her childhood, just like I'm a product from my childhood, and really seeing her as a person, I try to remind her, I'm like, Mom, that's just what happened. I'm just talking about what happened, and I'm understanding it, but I'm not angry at you, and I love you, and I want you to know that I don't hold any anger at you for the things that happened.
It's very hard for adults to apologize and admit wrongdoing, especially our parents.
It is hard.
It's very hard, bro. And so, like, I don't know exactly how old you are, or how old mom's is or dad is, but I can tell you from growing up in a West Indian household and having older aunts and whatnot, they're not as always ready to admit wrongdoing or apology, or they've suppressed a lot and been like, oh, did that happen? Yeah, motherfucker, it happened. It happened, okay? But it's our job to sort of talk to them and be like, but listen, man, I'm not attacking you.
Yeah.
I'm not here to make you feel bad.
Yeah.
But if we're recollecting that which has happened, then these things happen, and I have to let you know. I don't have any animosity. I'm not angry. I'm not holding you accountable, but I'm letting you know that these happened. You need to acknowledge them.
For sure.
You owe me that. You have to acknowledge these things happen, and we can start to move on. Right. And you need to tell your brother, it's like, yo, dude, listen, man, mom's was a piece of shit, but she grew up in a shitty childhood, and it's not all her fault.
I think we have a responsibility to kind of forgive our parents for trying, applaud their effort more than whatever happened sometimes.
Well,
because it's like
knows. Nobody knows how to be a fucking parent.
I know.
Dude, I'm fucking almost 35. I'm not ready to have a kid right now. I don't think I'll be ready at 45. I don't think I'll ever be ready at 55. If someone's like, I'm pregnant, I'm like, Jesus, fuck, I got to take care of another human being. I have to now protect you from this fucking shitstorm that we're fucking out there in the world. And I have to not take my issues and not take the bad things that I went through as a kid and download them onto you and put my experience. No, I have to now let you be a clean slate and learn and grow. Yeah. And that's the thing. Nobody knows how to be a parent.
Do my best not to fuck you up. I'll try.
I think parenting is just gleaning the good and bad from their childhood. For sure. And that's the game of telephone throughout parenting. A lot of parents are like, well, I got whooped as a kid, and some parents will take that and go the polar opposite, and like they'll be pushovers. Right. And some people are like, well, I got whooped as a kid, so I'm gonna whoop my kids. Like, oh, all right, calm down, Tonto. Where the fuck are you trying to improve here? You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, even with my mom she's Jamaican, and she's the most Americanized of her. She's the youngest of 8. Okay. And she's the most Americanized. And so while in West Indian culture, the motto is children to be seen and not heard. Right. That's the motto. So like when children talk amongst adults, it's like, are you fucking serious? Like, who told you that? What are you doing? Gone to scram. No one. You could have the cure for their problem. They'd be like, "Your child. I'm not listening to you." Yeah. And so my mom would turn around. She turned around. And she let us talk a lot. Yeah. Which was a contrast because when we went around them, that was not this. You know what I'm saying? So I've had to learn how to adjust and adapt. But I love my mom. My mom did the best she could with what she had. I feel like we just sometimes got to look at our parents, and no matter how strong or how old or how loving they may be or however much fucked up shit they did, we need to understand that they were humans and they made mistakes and they didn't know what they were doing and they tried. Some tried their best, some didn't try as hard as they could. You know what I'm saying? For sure. But like, Pop's going to jail. You realize that, you know what? I'm not about this jail life. Yeah. I'm sure that I could only imagine fucking going to jail in Milwaukee.
He went in Wausau is where he went, actually.
Which is like a rural it sounds like
bullshit. It's like, yeah.
It sounds like a small-ass county or like in like a big...
It's in the middle. It's like the middle of Wisconsin.
Oh, my gosh. Funny. Wisconsin, I love Minnesota, but Wisconsin's crazy.
I think we're out of time. Where are we at?
Yeah.
How much time?
I didn't usually. Elle puts a clock, so I didn't look.
How much time? How long did we go?
Went about an hour.
Oh shit.
All right.
We gotta get out of
Well,
here.
listen, man. Is there
This
any
is really
is there
fun,
any quick?
Quincy.
I'll give a bridge version. Any questions you have? Any other questions?
Oh no. Well, the last question I think that I was gonna ask you is, who is the hardest person in your life to love?
Ooh.
Yeah.
The hardest person in my life to love, whom I love despite it, had to be my sister,
Okay.
my older sister. My older sister's been through a lot in her life, and she's not always the most easy. She's very sensitive and very on edge.
Mm-hmm.
So things could go south sometimes with her really quickly.
You gotta tiptoe around her.
You got
a
to
little bit.
tiptoe. But, she's tried and she's trying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I said, my sister's been through a lot of trauma. She's been through a lot in her life. And so even when I talk to her, I've learned how to use humor and tact to be like, I'm not attacking you, dude.
Right.
But this has to improve.
Right.
If you want a different result, then you need to do a different action.
Is she older?
She's older, yeah.
Okay.
So, but I would say she's the most difficult. My brother, he isn't articulate. He doesn't know how to communicate his feelings, especially his emotions.
Yeah.
So he's doing his thing. But I love my family. And I don't say that just because you're supposed to say that. I genuinely love them.
Yeah.
I don't always agree with how they've, gone about handling things, but it's not my job. My job isn't to agree with everything. My job is to love them despite disagreeing. And that's what family is. And that's what true love is. True love is loving someone that you disagree with.
Yes.
In spite of disagreeing. And when you're intimate with someone, I hope you find that person, you know what I'm saying? In your demisexual goodness, your demisexual glow.
It's a lot, bruh.
It's a lot, but I like to challenge you to try and learn to just see people for what they are. Don't try and put the weight of love into it. Don't inject love into it yet. Love is a privilege. Love should be as intimate as sex sometimes, in theory. But sex is just an action. Love is a product of that action, hopefully. Love is a prequel to that action, hopefully. But love is separate from sex.
Definitely.
And sex does not always equate to love. And you do not
Definitely.
love every person you have sex with because sex is just an action.
Mm.
And that is Quincy's final thought on Andrea Loves Everyone. Thank you for having me.
This is so fun. Tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on social media, LLQJ206 on Twitter. You can find me on
LLQJ?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute. Okay.
Thank you. LLQJ206 on Twitter, LLQJ206 on Instagram. I do not have a Snapchat. I'm a grown man. I do not do Periscope. I'm a grown man. And lastly, please follow me. My Facebook posts are public. So if you'd like to know, I have 2 podcasts of my own.
Oh, yeah.
Random Thoughts with Quincy Jones. That's every Monday. You can find that. And Freegame Fridays. Every Friday, I interview a guest. So Random Thoughts is me just rambling Bill Burr style. And Freegame Fridays is me interviewing a lot of people. I'd love to have you on there, and we can
That'd be fun.
continue on this conversation. So thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your night. Bye.
Bye, Quincy.